everybody, it's Sha'Carri Richardson, and I just wanted to say good luck to everybody going to nationals. Peace and blessings to everybody watching, of course. But good luck to everybody going to nationals, traveling off. Make sure you update your whereabouts if that's something you have to deal with. But I'm coming to you today, the athletes of track and field, specifically USA. I know we see each other a lot at meets, and I may speak to some, or we may speak on not, whatever. But if you as an athlete have an issue with the things that are going on within track and field for the United States, the changes that are going on, the decisions that are being made, everything that we as athletes don't have any say so in, not knowing who to turn to, not knowing who to complain to, not knowing who to let know if we're not receiving the things from track meets, if we're not receiving things from our sponsors. So I just wanted to drop down below a link for an idea for all of us to come together and actually sit down. I know most of us will actually be in Oregon for nationals, so sit down and actually come up with a strategy as athletes to create a voice for ourselves and to create an actual organization to where we know that is going to impact and build us up as athletes and build up the sport in the United States, and not continue to just exploit us like these organizations that are supposed to be on our side are doing, and they continue to show us that they are not. Please, 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 I'm asking.
What hurts me the most is that I have to watch the NBA Finals, and they have world champion on their head. World champion of what? The United States? Don't get me wrong. I love the U.S. at times, but that ain't the.
What's up, everybody? Mr. 100K a day in the flesh, and today we're going to be talking about Sha'Carri Richardson and Noah Lyles, the two premier track and field sprinters in the 100-meter dash from the United States. And these two, after a thorough analysis of who they are and what they represent, these guys are a bunch of cowards. A bunch of cowards. And they're cowards. Let me tell you why. Because they don't stand up for anything. You just heard Sha'Carri get on there and talk about the United States standing up and fighting for what you want. But ever since they paid her off, you haven't heard a word from her about starting a union. Noah Lyles, for example, out of all the stuff that he could be arguing about within track and field, speaking of how Max Siegel getting all the money as the CEO while the athletes starve half to death. You know, who does he take his energy out on? A bunch of NBA players in their organization on something as foolish as they're being the world champions. With the platform that these people have, they talk about being world champions and talk about foolish things that take attention away from the real issues in track and field. So for that reason, they get no respect. And for that reason, I want to see the sport fail. Nobody should respect Sha'Carri Richardson and Noah Lyles. When you don't even have a revenue share. FloTrack has announced that the Diamond League will be streaming on FloTrack starting in 2025. I think it's going to be all of the meets except the Prefontaine Classic. If you read the article, guys, in which it talks about the deal, it says the major announcement on April 10th, FloTrack revealed it will add it to its 5-star live content schedule by streaming the WADA Diamond League for U.S. audiences and territories beginning in 2025. You know, FloTrack is owned by this guy named Mark Florinani, or whatever his name is, Florani. And, you know, seems like he getting all the money. He's a guy from the mountains. They don't show nothing about how the athletes, who the premier athletes, we all know who they are and what the genetic pattern they have. Guess what? They don't get nothing. They don't talk about no type of revenue sharing agreement in it. They don't talk about how this money is going to go back to the athletes to make the sport better and to make the athletes better. It doesn't. So for that reason, track and field sucks, Noah Lyles sucks, and Sha'Carri Richardson suck. As professionals, they don't stand on anything. They just all talk. And not only they all talk, they only all talk when it benefits them. And they all talk and just smoke and mirrors, because guess what? When it comes down to the real issues, they don't stand on anything. Why don't Sha'Carri Richardson, Noah Lyles, Sydney McLaughlin, and all of the top tier United States track and field athletes, all the medalists, gold medals we just had, even in relays, Shamir Little, Vernon Newell, why don't they all band together and say, we're not going to run any Diamond League meets? We're going to run any USATF events. We're not going to run any events dealing with these organizations until they get into a revenue distribution agreement with the broadcasting people, whether it's FloTrack, NBC, or whoever, so that all these track meets that are broadcast, the money goes back to the athletes first. And then the companies, because without the athletes, you have no company. Without the athletes, you have no track meet. Unless you want a bunch of 10-2 guys running in the events, a bunch of soft Canadian guys running the events. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants to see a bunch of guys from Italy running track meets, and then most of them running 10-1 or 10-2. Nobody wants to see a bunch of Anson Henry type guys running 10-1 or 10-3 at these meets. They want to see the American athletes. They want to see the Jamaican athletes. So for that reason, American athletes as a whole, knowing what they represent for the culture of track and field, knowing what they represent on an international level, they need to get rid of guys like Max Siegel and the way the system operates, or at least force them to operate in a way that's favorable to the athletes. Simply refuse to run. It's called striking. So until they do that, and I don't think you should either, have any respect for Sha'Carri Richardson, Noah Lyles, or United States track and field, because guess what? They're either all talk, or guess what? They put their energy in the wrong direction. They want to argue with basketball players and NFL players and do stupid races with Tyreek Hill about who's faster. It's stupid. Why don't Noah Lyles put all their energy into getting rid of Max Siegel and making him a guy who's a thing of the past? Because this man is getting all the money from what I hear. According to published reports and the tax documents from USATF, this man's making millions of dollars every year for being USATF CEO. USATF CEO. And there's not one track athlete that USATF is paying even $500,000 a year. How does that work? When everybody came to see Noah, Sha'Carri, Sydney. Tell me, how does that work? So yeah, I'll never respect them guys. And this is the reason why you shouldn't respect them either. These guys are the biggest cowards in track, cowards in sport, and track and field will always be an amateur, underperforming sport until these athletes get some backbone and stand up for something that actually matters. Anyway, another episode of The Biggest Hater in Track and Field. Tell me what you guys think in the comments. And until next time, peace.